I found out recently or the other day that looked like the Menendez brothers may be finding a path out from prison. And I woke up this morning to an email from Mark Garagos, who told me that he used my argument, which got Mark Garagos into the fray. He was not the Menendez. He was not their counsel, but I made an argument to him several years ago about why they needed to get out, and it stuck with him. And then he told me he used it in his closing argument to try to get the Menendez boys out, which I'm always profoundly flattered of. And it was a simple thing, but it somehow made sense to him. And it was a joke, but to him, it wasn't a joke. Well, it's a joke that had a lot of truth to it. And I don't know if there's footage of him saying, Adam told me this, and that's when I got involved with the case. So hopefully when the Menendez boys get out, they'll swing by here and sit down for an interview after they get paid. Like somebody's going to pay them for the first one.
What's the joke? You got to tell us the joke.
Oh, the joke was I got a daughter and I got a son. I got boy-girl twins. And if the daughter ever went into my son's room and said, I'm thinking about offing mom and dad with a shotgun, and I'm thinking about doing it Sunday night, and my son said, this Sunday or the following Sunday, then that would mean we were shitty parents. Because one of them should have piped up and said, hold on. I'm not fucking doing this. Yeah. Like, if you really think about it, if one kid can go rogue, but I don't think my daughter, even if she went rogue, could talk my son into snuffing their parents out unless we were horrific parents. In which case, and then it's a sort of nature or nurture thing. You pick. Is it nature or is it nurture? Like, how did you ruin these kids? But basically, the gist of it is if both kids agree it's a good idea to take you out, you probably weren't great parents.
Yeah, the unanimous vote.
The unanimous vote. I'd like to think that my son would put up an argument. Gosh. That's all I'm saying. So I always joked about it, but I always kind of thought, well, there is some truth to that. Like, one of them would go, I'm not doing this. I love mom. I love dad. They've always been great, and they provided for us and blah, blah, blah. But if they were horrible, then maybe they would go along with it.
Jump right on it.
Also, they've been in prison for 30 years plus, and I was thinking about it yesterday. Like, I have a sort of a thing in my head, which is going to prison serves two purposes. One is punishment, and the other is getting you away from society because you can do more harm. And so if you're like a person that just sort of randomly pushed someone onto the subway tracks in New York, some commuter, you're very dangerous. To me, you don't even know the person, and you weren't even robbing them. You just pushed them. That's just destruction. And that person is the scariest person of all, and I want them off the streets. Then you get into domestic stuff, like, the wife that poisons the husband to collect the insurance. And I go, I want that person in prison, but I don't feel like that person is a danger to me or my kids when we're on the subway. Mm-hmm. So there's a sort of weight, like how much punishment do you deserve? And also, do you possess is there a danger to society? What happens if you get out? We hear all these stories where it's like, oh, the guy was in New York, he was arrested 80 times, and he just went through the turnstile at the police department, and he finally killed somebody. That I don't want. I don't want that at all. The Menendez boys check both boxes for me because, A, they've been in prison for 30 years plus, so there's punishment has been... I'll check the box on the punishment. You've been in prison longer than 25 years. And posing a danger to society. Mm-hmm. I'm going to check that box, too, because I just don't think they're going to kill again.
Yeah, I mean, I'll play devil's advocate, and to be honest, I don't have a solid position on this. But if you're capable, someone who's capable of killing and can cross that line, that line of morality, in absent self-defense or vengeance, right? Because I think of ways in which I would be capable. You know, anybody does something to my kids, wife, family, etc., or self-defense in wartime, or just somebody's trying to kill me.
Oh, you put American cheese in an enchilada.
Yeah.
And I'm coming for you.
Yeah. The situations like that, culinary crimes, are they capable of doing it again? Are they capable of crossing over that moral line? Who knows?
No, I'm with you. It does take something to cross that.
Yeah.
And that's a part of your brain that's there. And it's never going to be there for you or I.
Yeah.
To do it that way. On the other hand, I don't know, when you're 19, there's a bunch of stuff you're capable of versus 57. I know I had a lot of things I was capable of that I'm not capable of anymore. And I agree, and to me, this isn't a slam dunk. I'm not going to make a full-throated argument and tell you with 100% certitude why these guys need to be free. I'm just going to say, as a taxpayer, I feel like we got bigger fish to fry in terms of incarcerations, and I'll make some room for some other fellas. And I feel like 30 years plus is good enough for me.
Well, and you if you apply the double standard defense, if you will, especially here in California, everybody, they'd be out in a second. Right?
Yeah.
The double standard defense, because the people who, and that person you described 80 times, arrested, released, and then they kill 9 people.
Right.
Be it drunk driving or intentional. Yeah,
right.
That's ultimately the game.